I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call to quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And woo. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead.
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC 280. We have the card of the year. We now have a 12-fight card. We did lose a couple fights, but looks like we still have the most important fights on it. We got the main event is good to go. The co-main event, good to go. Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, good to go. The main card, all good to go. I was looking forward to that Almeida-Chookagian fight, though. I did have a couple bets on that fight, but, nothing hurts. Still a phenomenal card. Still card of the year. The most anticipated matchup of the year, Islam Makhachev going against Charles Oliveira. Cannot wait to get into it, break it down. We're going to be talking some betting, some Draftkings, a little bit of the weigh-ins as well. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like on the video. One small like goes a long way. Also, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. I do want to shout out my two sponsors before we get into it. The first sponsor is going to be Steady Picks. Steady Picks provides sports betting picks, articles, and podcasts. Everything they do is 100% free and overall a great free resource to sports bettors. UFC fighter Sean Brady, who's fighting on the card, provides all of his UFC picks exclusively on their website and helps with the UFC Steady Picks plays. They've been endorsed by other UFC fighters, including Sean O'Malley and Terrence McKinney. They cover almost all major sports, NFL, NBA, MLB, college football, and basketball. They are up 54.5 units in UFC betting this year. And one bet they're looking at this week is TJ Dillashaw at plus 155 over Aljamain Sterling. To see all their other picks and content, check them out at steadypicks.com. Shout out to Steady Picks, sponsor of the show. And then shout out the other sponsor, which is going to be Verdict Tournaments. Shout out to Verdict Tournaments here. So you may have heard of Verdict MMA, but I'm sure a lot of you have not heard of Verdict Tournaments. So Verdict is built for MMA and is based on the fight outcome. You don't have to worry about how many strikes are landed or how many takedowns a fighter gets. You pick the winner, the method, and the round. Compete against others to win cash prizes, and you can enter up until the start of the co-main event. Ben Askren, Connor Burks, and Kate Hansen are a few of the names that will be competing in the featured Verdict tournament tomorrow. Download the Verdict app, go to tournaments, and try it out. This is a brand new look at daily fantasy sports, and it is built for MMA fans. So shout out to both sponsors there, and shout out to the chat. I do want to get into the chat right now. Thank you all for hanging out here on a Friday here. Fights are coming up. We have an early start time. I believe they pushed it back about 30 minutes for tomorrow due to a couple cancellations, but make sure you guys are up early. I will be getting up early myself because I have to watch Muhammad Makhachev against Malcolm Gordon. That is a fight that I am very heavily invested in. But yeah, let's shout out the chat. We got Michael. First one in the chat saying, I can't wait for your parlays. I want to get a good straight bet parlay in rounds, distance, etc. Thank you for always putting up good info on fights and bets. Shout out to Michael. First one in the chat. We got Dope Space Cowboy saying he's ready. Propaholic saying one more sleep. It's going to be hard to sleep tonight with, these fights coming tomorrow. We got Mushroom in the chat looking for some violence. We got Jesse in the chat as well. We have Connor Culture saying, yo, what is up? We got Garrett saying, let's cash some tickets. That is always the goal. I'm on a 3-event winning streak, hoping to make it 4. And on a card like this, that would be phenomenal. Chris saying, I will be paying off my mortgage after this event. That would be nice. We got Man Deep in the chat. What is up? Let's go. We got Hagbard saying, my head is as hard as a brick. Who said that? Who said my head is as hard as a brick? Interesting. We got Propaholic saying, let's go. Can't wait. I can't wait as well. We got Aiken in the chat. Verdict DFS is lit. Absolutely. We got Juicy J saying, what's good, y'all? What is up, Juicy J? We got Gramps in the chat. What's the haircut line on O'Malley? I'm not sure, but we could talk about the actual line of that fight soon. And we got Chris in the chat as well. All right, guys, if you have not already, be sure to like the video. All right, we'll start with the first fight on the card. We have Karol Rosa going against Lena Lansberg, and I have a bet on every single fight on the main card. But I don't have a bet on a lot of these prelims, and this is one that I don't have a bet on. I think that what's up, Chronic Conversations? I see you guys in there. This is a fight where I think Karol Rosa wins the fight, but minus 345 when we're talking women's MMA. I mean, it hasn't worked out a lot. I'm still kind of scarred from Corey McKenna, Lupe Godinez, stuff like that. But she should win this fight against a 40-year-old and Lena Lansberg. I think this fight is going to stay at range for the majority of the time. And at that point, Karol Rosa throws a ton of volume. And I know the decision prop is very popular this week for Karol Rosa, and it makes a lot of sense. My concern with that is we are laying kind of a hefty price on that decision prop. It's now minus 130, minus 150 on some books. My only concern is, Lansberg is 40 years old, and she's going to get hit a lot in this fight, a lot. Karol Rosa's volume's no joke. So I guess my concern is Lansberg, being 40 towards the end of her career, maybe looking for the door, looking for the way out. So I'm not touching that decision prop personally, but if I was to bet this fight, it'd probably be Rosa as a parlay piece. But this line's just been smashed all week to the point where I don't have much interest. Like even where it was earlier in the week at like minus 250, I was just content with sitting back and watching this one. I might even miss this one because it's going to be pretty early in the morning. But yeah, Karol Rosa's the pick. As far as DraftKings goes, I don't know. I mean, I like a lot more fighters around the salary of Karol Rosa. Like, yeah, Muhammad Makhachev for 400 more. You have Petrosian, 100 less. You got Kyle Bahayo up there with some wrestling upside. Petr Yan's up there as well. But I think she could be, pretty sneaky. I don't think many people are going to play this fight just because she's going to throw a ton of volume. I don't see much finish upside, much takedown upside, but Karol Rosa throws a ton, and that could very well add up. So, yeah, not too much interest in this fight. I kind of wish we lost this one instead of the Tuhugov fight, because the Tuhugov fight was going to be awesome. But yeah, Karol Rosa for the win, and she's a very popular parlay piece this week, and I think she does get it done. All right, let's see what the chat is saying here. Mushroom liking that third round decision. Yeah, I don't hate that. I think the third round decision, at least earlier in the week, was like minus 150. I think that's a good way to play it. That's probably been hit since then, though. So, but I know you got that in early, Mushroom. You were talking about that early in the week. I just can't bet Rosa at minus 330 at 10:30. Yeah, it's too early for that. It's too early to be laying minus 330, minus 350 on Karol Rosa. But I think she absolutely should win this fight. Jesse with the TKO, and yeah, like I said, I think that could be in play. Lansberg's going to get hit a ton in this fight. And she could look for the door. She very well could look for the door. What is Rosa by KO? Like plus 500 there. That is on Bet Online. I'm sure FanDuel has something juicy. So Rosa by KO on FanDuel. Oh, it's been hit. It has been hit. It was plus 550. Now it's plus 460. So it looks like best price out there is like plus 460, plus 475 on the Rosa KO. We got Sean in the chat. Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Sean. All right, guys. We'll move on to the next fight. We have Muhammad Makhachev going against Malcolm Gordon, and I have a lot invested in this fight here, and I wish it wasn't so early on the prelims, but it is, and I will be up to watch, and it's going to be a good fight for as long as it lasts. So I guess we'll start with the bets I have. So the first bet I have is Muhammad Makhachev in a parlay, and I know what you guys are saying. Why would you parlay a minus 1,300 favorite? I did not. I parlayed him at minus 730 earlier in the week, and at that point, I thought there was, believe it or not, value on that line. I thought it would move, and I had to get in on that parlay right now. So I parlayed him at minus 730. That line, probably not parlayable at this point, unless you can still get them better than minus 1,000. I see minus like 1,300 out there, minus 1,200. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think this is a horrible matchup for Malcolm Gordon. Shocked this fight is happening. And outside of an injury, something crazy happening, I think Makhachev should go out there and steamroll Malcolm Gordon and beat him in the very first round. So the other bets I have on this fight, I got the KO earlier in the week on Bet Online at plus 300, and I'm going to check and see what that is now. But I mean, I think Makhachev is going to knock this guy out. I think he could sub him as well, but Malcolm Gordon is a black belt. So Makhachev by KO is still plus 260 on FanDuel, plus 265 on Bet Rivers. And I know what you guys are thinking, like Makhachev, not really known for that power, not really known as a knockout guy, but a gust of wind could knock out Malcolm Gordon. I'm worried about Malcolm Gordon getting hurt from like a Bruce Buffer fist bump, in the intros. gives Malcolm Gordon a fist bump. Next thing you know, he's doing the chicken dance. Like, this guy has the worst chin in the UFC outside of Jason Witt, and I think Jason Witt may have been cut. So if that is the case, then Malcolm Gordon does have the worst chin in the UFC. And I think Makhachev is going to make a statement. Like, if Makhachev does not finish Malcolm Gordon in the first 10 minutes, he should be ashamed of himself. Like, the UFC is setting Muhammad Makhachev up to go out here and get a highlight reel finish, to build this guy up, to get more hype on this guy. This is a step down in competition for Muhammad Makhachev, going from Charles Johnson to Malcolm Gordon. Charles Johnson, in that fight, he was bigger. He had great takedown defense, great get-up game. I don't believe he's ever been finished. And Makhachev went out there and took him down 12 times. Very impressive win, but I think he's going to want to get a finish in this fight. So I have a quarter unit on Makhachev to win by knockout, plus 300. I have Makhachev in a parlayed him at minus 730. I thought there was value on that line. And then I also have 1.5 units on the fight won't start round 3 at minus 124. And that line has been hit a little bit throughout the week. The violence props are very popular on this fight, and rightfully so. We now see the minus 320, minus 300 for the fight doesn't go the distance on this fight. People are all over it. People see that, Makhachev should absolutely run through Malcolm Gordon in this fight. And if he doesn't, he should be ashamed of himself, because they're feeding him one in this fight on tomorrow. So give me a Makhachev inside the distance, Makhachev to go out there and either knock out or submit Malcolm Gordon, but to do it before the third round starts. From a DraftKings perspective, I have a ton of Makhachev. He's my highest exposed fighter by a decent amount here. I think he has knockout upside. I think he has takedown and submission upside, control time upside. If he was to not finish Malcolm Gordon, which I don't think it's too likely, but if he does go to decision, he's probably going to rack up 10 plus takedowns. He has the ability to do so. So I think he's the best play on DraftKings. And like I said, outside of a injury or something crazy happening, it's just hard to see Malcolm Gordon winning this fight. And of course, this is MMA. Nothing is a lock. We saw, Victor Henry go out there as a huge favorite last week and crap the bed. But this is one that would really, really surprise me if Malcolm Gordon pulled off this upset. All right, let's see what people in the chat are saying. Almost 100 of you in here. If you guys have not, be sure to like the video. Let's get those likes up, guys. We do appreciate it a lot. We got Propaholic saying Makhachev inside the distance, minus 175, 1.75 units. Yeah, good line there. He liked my breakdown, replied on my tweet. Heck yeah. He's going for that finish and will fold Gordon like a long chair. I agree. Rosa by finish and Makhachev by finish, plus 100. You probably get better odds than that, right? Because Rosa by finish is probably like plus 200 something. Jesse Lena, the club and sub. Yeah, I can see a club and sub, a knockout, ground and pound TKO. I can see a lot of different ways for Makhachev to finish this fight. Yeah, we talked about that one a little bit. Rosa on DraftKings just due to the volume. Charles Johnson's actually good. I agree. He's actually good. Gordon's chin is much worse than Witt. Well, Jason Witt's been knocked out 8 times. Malcolm Gordon's only been knocked out 4, but Jason Witt does fight up at a higher weight class. So, pound for pound, I'd have to agree with you there. Makhachev minus 750, finish only on Bovada. I mean, it's better than like minus 1,300 where he's at now. Makhachev, easy money. Let's see here. Brady and Fiorot in a parlay. Talk about that Brady fight. Rosa, Fiorot parlay, minus 109 parlay lock. I think it hits, but as I always say, nothing's a lock, especially a women's MMA parlay. Oh boy. Change that Makhachev first round KO is plus 500 on its own. Yeah, I did see it like plus 600 as well earlier in the week. I think that's how he wins. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We have Armen Petrosian going against AJ Dobson. I think this is a phenomenal fight, a fight I cannot wait to watch, but a fight where I'm just going to be staying away from a betting perspective. Just nothing sticking out on this one. I think it's a clear violent spot, but I mean, look at this price tag we got to lay. Minus 260 for the fight doesn't go to decision. The under 2.5 opened up at a crazy price. It opened up at like plus 125, something crazy like that for the under 2.5, and I missed it. It got completely smashed. Now that under is like minus 210. They're all over it here. I think violence is the answer, but I just don't feel comfortable laying like minus 310 now on the fight doesn't go to decision. Dobson, I think, is very live early on to win by knockout. The guy hits very hard. Petrosian has been knocked out in his only loss, and it was in the first round. But I think as the fight goes on, Petrosian, this guy has great cardio, phenomenal output, and a lot of power. I think Petrosian finishes Dobson in the second or third round there. But that's nothing sticking out from a betting perspective. Like Dobson round 1 KO is something I would consider. Dobson in round 1 in general, plus 650. Petrosian, round 2, round 3 sprinkles, I think are in play. But even those, prices aren't sticking out to me. I think they're kind of all over it here. I'm going to pick Petrosian to win, but I think Dobson's very live in the first round. But that's about it. As far as DraftKings goes, I think it's a good fight to target. Like 7,100 for Dobson. If he wins this fight, there's a really good chance I think it's in the first round by knockout. And at 7,100, if you get a first round knockout, you're going to be looking very good. On the flip side, I don't think Armen Petrosian is going to get a ton of ownership at all. You have, Makhachev up there. You have Petr up there. Caio up there. I think all those fighters are going to be more popular than Petrosian here. And I think Petrosian is very dangerous. And I think as the fight goes on, it definitely favors him. So I don't mind both guys, but Dobson as a pump play especially is something I don't mind at all, because his path to victory is literally a first round knockout, and that's going to score a ton. But yeah, no bet on me for this one. The pick's Petrosian. This is what I'm going to be sitting back and watching. But I think it's going to be a good fight. I think it's one of my favorite fights on the prelims. But yeah, nothing sticking out from a betting perspective, unfortunately. What's up, Victor? How you doing? Good to see you. Victor saying Petrosian, second or third round knockout. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm thinking maybe a second round knockout. Aiken saying, I actually think this goes the distance. Well, if you think that, you're going to get a good price on it. Fight goes to decisions like plus 215. It's clearly going to be a sweat, but I'm kind of with you. I mean, I'd rather bet the fight goes than that doesn't go. Like minus 310, it's just getting ridiculous. I think it does finish, but we're laying a lot there. Petrosian round 3 or decision. That's not bad. Plus 250. I don't hate that. What's up, Zach? I see you in there. Paul said Armen got KO'd by a light heavyweight. I think Armen will be fine taking Dobson's punches. Yeah, I guess just early on, I'm a little bit concerned about the power of Dobson, that Dobson goes for it in that first round, but I think he'll be fine. Dobson is getting undervalued because he got Malkoun. Malkoun would do the same to Armen. Oh, Malkoun would destroy Armen. I mean, it wouldn't be close. Malkoun would get 14 minutes and 59 seconds of control time. Armen Petrosian's takedown defense is atrocious. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Good fight here. All right, we'll keep moving on. We have, in my opinion, the fight on the card where I could really just care less. I have nothing invested in this fight. Not too excited about it. But after that, I'm looking forward to every single fight. But we got Abubakar Nurmagomedov going against Gadzhi Omargadzhiev. Nurmagomedov minus 160. You never want to lay chalk on this guy. I mean, this guy's notorious for just dropping the ball as a favorite. Coming into the UFC against David Zawada as a massive favorite, getting submitted in the first round. It's not a good look. I will say he looked solid in his last fight against Jared Gooden, which at this point that was a while ago. That was a long time ago. But his striking looked much improved, so that was good. I think people are a little bit down on Gadzhi Omargadzhiev because he had a lot of hype coming into the UFC against Caio. That fight was like very closely lined, about a pick him in that fight. And, Caio, as we know now, he's very good. So I think we can forgive him a little bit, but still, I kind of get fraud vibes on the Omargadzhiev side. He looks phenomenal. I mean, you go watch tape on this guy. He looks really good. Solid striking, very dangerous, really everywhere the fight goes. But he's looking very good against, low-level competition. So I'm still not sure where Omargadzhiev is at. But I'm going to pick him here for the upset just because Nurmagomedov, the guy is just notorious for dropping the ball. I've seen him hurt. I've seen him submitted. And Omargadzhiev is a very dangerous fighter. So I'm going to take Omargadzhiev as a pick, but this is the least confident fight, maybe the second least confident fight on the entire card for me. And again, a fight where I could really care less about it. From a DraftKings perspective, 8,700 for Nurmagomedov. That is a hefty price tag. I'm okay getting away from that. If anything, it's probably some Gadzhi here because I think he has some finish upside. Nurmagomedov has been finishing all 3 of his losses. And he's only 7,500. I don't think anybody's going to be on this fight. So Gadzhi on DraftKings is about it for me. And like I said, nothing's sticking out from a betting perspective. It's a clear dog or pass situation here. But I'm not tempted on the plus money on Omargadzhiev. I'm just tempted to just completely passing. This is the 1-800-GAMBLER fight on the card for me. So yeah, passing on this one. But I will pick the dog for the upset. Yeah, we'll talk about that is on fight very, very soon. Philip saying you're right. Rosa inside the distance, Makhachev inside the distance plus 405. Yeah, I think the one you'd have to worry about would be the Rosa, but if that hits, you're going to be looking good for the Makhachev fight. Yeah, that RoboCop performance for Petrosian was phenomenal. That really opened up my eyes on Petrosian. He's such a good striker, but he needs to work on the takedown defense. But I don't think this is a matchup he's going to have to worry about that. I'm kind of with you there. I have no read on this one as well. I mean, like I said, I'm just staying away from it. I'm staying very far away from it, and both are fraudulent. I can agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Dylan's on Gadzhi. I think too many people are down on him because of the bad debut. But Caio was really absolutely, I think, the same exact thing. Aiken, Gadzhi finish only. Great bet. Yeah, I did my betting article, my best bet article earlier in the week, and I did put that finish only. And earlier in the week, it was plus 115. Let's see what it is now. But yeah, Nurmagomedov has been finished in all of his losses. Gadzhi very dangerous. I think that finish only is interesting if I was to bet, and it's still plus 115 there. I think that is interesting if I was to bet on that fight, but I just can't. I can't do it. I can't put any money on this fight. Yeah, they both are really friendly. They're like hugging each other. Not sure what was up with that. Philip liking the O'Malley KO Oliveira by finish plus 1850. Kind of going the other way on both of those, but juicy odds there. Gadzhi solid for cash. Yeah, I don't hate it. Likely 3 rounds of work, grappling upside, and yeah, that finish upside as well. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. And you liking Gadzhi versus budget Nurmagomedov. Yeah, budget to say the least. All right. We will move on to the next fight here. And yeah, this is probably my third favorite fight on the prelims. I love the Makhachev fight. I love the Sean Brady Muhammad fight. And I like this fight a lot. Nikita Krylov, Volkan Oezdemir. And I do have a bet here. I have the under 2.5 rounds. It looks like a lot of people do. Just looking at this line movement, but I was able to get it at minus 126. So the under 2.5 opened up at minus 155. Money came in on the overs, which was interesting. It was able to get it at minus 126. I put a unit on it. That is now at like minus 170. The fight doesn't go to decision on FanDuel. It opened up around like minus 192 into minus 180. I really liked it there. But some money as of late has been coming in on these violence props, and we've been saying it all week, rightfully so. This is a Nikita Krylov fight. This is a Nikita Krylov fight, and Nikita Krylov fights, they typically do finish inside the distance. I mean, he has, 37 fights, 34 of them finishing inside the distance. The guy's a 96% finish rate, has won all but one of his fights by decision. He's been finished 7 times. Volkan Oezdemir has been finishing 4 out of 6 losses. He has a 73% finish rate in his own right. I think somebody's getting knocked out here. And I like Krylov to win. I like Krylov. It's hard to be too confident in a guy like Krylov. He's kind of hit or miss, kind of inconsistent at times. But I just don't like how Oezdemir's been looking. Like his last couple fights, like I really thought that Oezdemir should have went out there and starched Paul Craig, and that was a weird fight where Paul Craig did, flop to his back a lot. But on the feet, it was just concerning seeing that he was not able to do a lot on the feet against Paul Craig. And at times, like Paul Craig was having success in the striking. It was just a really bad look. He looked bad in that Paul Craig fight. I think if he shows up and looks like that against Krylov takes him out in the first round. So hopefully that was maybe a one-off. But yeah, Oezdemir looked like crap in that fight. But yeah, Krylov's so dangerous wherever the fight goes. Tons of submissions on his record. He has 4 subs in the UFC. Tons of knockout power. I think he finishes Oezdemir in this fight. But yeah, I think somebody's getting finished. Give me the under 2.5, 1 unit, minus 126. At this point, I probably wouldn't touch these violence props. They've been smashed all week. But I do lean towards the violence side of things. And as far as DraftKings goes, I like Krylov. 8,600, I like the finish upside. But I think Oezdemir is a really sneaky option. I don't think Oezdemir is going to have a ton of ownership at all. And, Krylov's been finished 7 times in his career, and Oezdemir does have power. So, but I am mostly on the Krylov side myself. But yeah, it should be a very fun fight. And I do think there will be some violence in this one. Headley once saying everyone's on Krylov and the under feels like a trap. Yeah, it does feel like a trap. I agree with that. These violence lines, especially earlier in the week, I was like, what's going on here? Like this almost seems too easy. Why is the fight doesn't go only minus 180? They'll stand at range and stare at each other. I don't, Krylov doesn't strike me as a guy that would stare for 15 minutes. That's the only thing, but yeah, we'll have to see. Dylan saying violent spot. Yeah, Krylov is absolutely kill or be killed. I don't know why people keep saying Krylov by decision. He doesn't win decisions. He's won one of them in 37. Like there's a very big sample there. Mushroom saying Krylov inside the distance. Yeah, I don't mind that. What is Krylov? Yeah, plus 140 for Krylov inside the distance. I like that a lot more than that money line, if anything. Oezdemir, I agree. I agree. Dude, I know, right? Like Paul Craig was tagging up Volkan at times. I had a bet on violence first of all, which that was the hardest fight to ever watch in my life. But I had a bet on Volkan as well to beat Paul Craig. I thought it was a great matchup for him. And I was like, why is the striking this competitive? It should be Volkan starching this guy. Oezdemir, I like it. Krylov only knocked out once in 37 fights, and it was versus a heavyweight. That is true. He typically is getting submitted. The Volkan money line and have the Krylov fight doesn't go parlay with the Yan money line. Probably get good on. Probably got plus money on that parlay. I do like that. Krylov is looking. Yeah, he's been looking good, but sometimes he's hit or miss though. Like sometimes he shows up and looks completely bad. Both these guys like are hit or miss. My parlay bets has a Volkan bet. Best of luck to you. I will not be betting a side here. All right, guys, we'll keep moving on. About 150 of you hanging out. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out my Twitter, DFS_numbers. Check out my pinned tweet. I am doing a contest, a $25 giveaway. Post your predictions on 12 fights under the pinned tweet, and whoever gets the most right, $25 the first. But if you get a perfect card, 12 out of 12, I will double that $25 prize. So check me out, DFS by the numbers, doing a giveaway there on Twitter. All right, we'll move on to the next fight. We got Caio Borralho going against Makhmud Muradov. And I don't have a bet on this fight. I don't know. The one prop that sticks out, and we were kind of talking about the fight doesn't go to decision for the Krylov fight looking too good to be true. The prop that looks too good to be true here is Caio Borralho by submission. It's been hit throughout the week, and rightfully so. I think FanDuel had it at something crazy like plus like 550, plus 575. Let me double check there. Yeah, FanDuel had Borralho by submission opened up at plus 550. It's now plus 320. So people are smashing this line. It looks like BetRivers still has it at plus 450. It seems too good to be true. I mean, it just makes so much sense. Caio Borralho, black belt in BJJ. The guy has multiple submissions on his record. Makhmud Muradov, the guy's been finished 4 times. I think, Muradov has great takedown defense, a great get-up game, but, his submission defense has not looked good. And if Borralho is able to get him down, potentially take his, the fight could be over shortly after. So that submission prop is something that I have not bet. I should have bet it at plus 550, my goodness, on FanDuel, but even like at plus 450 now on BetRivers still. I think that's interesting, but it seems too good to be true. It makes too much sense. It makes way too much sense. But yeah, I'm going to take Caio Borralho to win the fight. I'm going to take Caio Borralho to win it either by decision or submission. The thing with Caio and why I'm not extremely confident he gets a submission here is because the guy he's smart. He does what it takes to win. He's not going to go out there and force a finish. He's not going to go out there and make mistakes. He is the definition of position over submission. I thought he had multiple opportunities to finish Petrosian in his last fight, and Petrosian's submission D looked good, looked very good. But still, I thought he should have very well went out there and finished Petrosian at some point, but he didn't even try to, it looked like, for the most part. Yeah, I think the sub's super live at that price tag, and that'd be the only thing I would look at on this fight. But no bet for me on this one. No bet for me on this one. I'm picking Caio to win. I don't mind either on DraftKings, really. If Caio wins this fight, expect takedowns, control time, potential sub. And if Makhmud Muradov is able to stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, he's going to have the clear advantage, and he's only 7,200. So, but the pick for me is Caio Borralho. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. Caio Smesh, I think the path to victory is there. Paul liking the sub. I'm sure a lot of people are liking the sub because that sub probably has been smashed all week. Someone said that Caio is going to be the parlay buster. Yeah, I wouldn't parlay the guy, but I think he wins. $50 for a sweep, yes sir. Try to get all 12 right. It's been a while since I've got a sweep on my pick. It's so hard to do. It seems like there's one like big upset out of nowhere. Like last week, the Victor Henry. I was not expecting a 40-year-old Rafael Sunsao to look that good. I'm mushroom with the third round decision look. Don't hate it. I think decision's probably most likely, but the sub is gonna be live. We got Victor de Jesus with a $20 donation. Appreciate you, Victor. Always in here hanging out, always supporting. Your hard work is appreciated. Brady, thanks for all you do. Thank you, Victor, for hanging out. It does go a long, long way. Do appreciate that so much, man. And then Philip saying, how do you bet on a fight where one is a cheater and the other is a quitter? Sterling versus Dillashaw. We will talk about how we bet on that fight real soon. Do we think Charles Islam goes over 1.5? I do, but it won't be something I'll be betting. But I do lean towards it going over. What's up, Evan? How you doing? We got Gramps saying Caio to the moon. Caio trains with Chimaev now. Easy win for Caio. Jan is the parlay buster. I disagree. Cheater Jan will sleep Saturday. Caio needs a finish here. Got to make it. Yeah, I agree. The guy just got to make a statement. I think the guy has a pretty high ceiling, honestly, but his last 2 wins have not been the most exciting fights, but they've been dominant. My friend put 5,000 on Sugar Sean. Oh, yeah, we'll see. I'm strong lean to the other side for me, but we'll get into. I'm not confident in Armen at all. Parlay, I would not parlay Armen. Dobson scares the crap out of me early, but maybe you could parlay Armen and then maybe hedge out with like the Dobson first round knockout prop around plus 650, something like that. But I'm not touching that fight. And yeah, that Mearshart fight was not a good look for Muradov. Mearshart, phenomenal grappler, but the wrestling is not good. All right, guys, we're gonna get to the people's main event, or at least I thought it would be the people's main event. Is nobody's talking about this fight this week, which is interesting. I thought this would be, the talk of Twitter, and nobody's really talking about this fight, which is crazy to me. But that maybe it's because we have so many other like great fights on this card. We got Sean Brady going against Belal Muhammad, and for me, this is the toughest fight to call on the card. I think a lot of question marks are going to be answered in this fight. It's a close fight. It's a really, really close fight. Sean Brady, I give him the grappling advantage. The guy's grappling is next level. Belal Muhammad, I give him the striking advantage. I did not like the look of Sean Brady in his last fight against Michael Chiesa. Chiesa having success in the striking. I did not like that. And there's just question marks all over. Like, what does Sean Brady's takedown defense look like? And quite frankly, what does Belal Muhammad's takedown defense look like against a wrestler the caliber of Sean Brady? I thought Sean Brady's takedown defense would be tested against Michael Chiesa, and it wasn't. Chiesa went for one takedown. He got the takedown. Brady did slow down in that third round of the Chiesa fight. I give Belal Muhammad the cardio advantage, the experience advantage. You give Sean Brady the wrestling, the grappling. If this fight does play out on the feet, what's it going to look like? And again, will Sean Brady be able to take down and hold down Belal Muhammad? We're going to have to find out. But I think this fight is 50-50 as you can get. And for that reason, I will be taking a small shot on Belal Muhammad here at plus 125. Not a confident pick. I think it's a tough fight to call, but in a fight I feel like can really go either way, I'm taking the plus money here with Belal. So I have a half unit on Belal Muhammad, and I got him at plus 125 earlier in the week. Money did come in on Belal, but it looks like money came back in on Brady recently. So half a unit Belal Muhammad, plus 125. One of the 2 dogs I am betting this week. And I'm hoping to hit at least one of these dogs to get some profit there. But yeah, I do like Belal Muhammad from a money line perspective. I think it's going to be a super, super close fight. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't have too much interest in this fight for a couple of reasons. I think this fight has potential to not score a ton. I think, both these guys, the wrestling could negate each other. I think we get a fight that plays out on the feet for the majority of the time here. I think it's going to be a very close fight. I don't see much finishing upside on either side. And it's going to be very high owned. I think a lot of people are going to be on Sean Brady at 8,200. I'm kind of okay with just getting away with it, getting away from this fight a little bit in DraftKings. So half a unit on Belal. That's all I'm looking at. Can't be too confident in it. I don't think anybody can be real confident in this fight. It's a very close fight with still a ton of question marks. And when there's these question marks, I would much rather be on the plus money and I'll be on the plus money on Belal here. We'll have to see what happens, but should be a very, very fun fight. This is one of my favorite fights on the card, a fight that I think is getting not enough attention. I really thought that everybody would be talking about this fight. Just haven't seen a lot of hype on this fight. But like I said, it's because we have so many other great fights in the card. Yeah, what is Drake betting? That'd be good to know. Hag saying Brady Belal over 2.5. Yes, I think the 2.5 is a good look, but the only problem is minus 350. minus 350 for that. So I think it hits, but you're just laying a ton of juice on it. Mushroom saying Brady by decision. Yeah, I think whoever wins is by decision there. Mushroom is a Philly guy as well. Brady's going to humiliate Belal. Yeah, I don't think anybody's getting humiliated. There we go. In this fight, I don't see it. Belal has no finishing upside whatsoever. I completely agree. Belal is winning round 3. Don't know if he wins, but he is winning round 3. I agree. I'm surprised Brady doesn't pick the fighter named Brady. I'm a big fan of Sean Brady, man, but I just see this as a very, very close fight. So I am going to side with the dog, but I don't have a ton of confidence in this fight. Actually, I have more confidence in the other dog I'm picking, and the other dog is at a wider odds there. This week, Parlay Buster will be the under in the Krylov fight. Yeah, that's a very popular. A lot of people think that is going over, and the odds just don't indicate that. So we'll have to see. Belal into the distance plus 750. Brady gets tired trying to wrestle. Belal TKO book it. I'd be kind of surprised. It would have to be, I don't know. I'd be very surprised if Belal finished, but I mean, if he does finish, it would be around 3, but I don't know. Yeah, Brady is projected. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's wild to me. I don't see this fight scoring that well. I'd be shocked if anybody dominated this fight. I think it's gonna be very close. Got Vince in the chat. What is up, Vince? Is Gamrot a lock? Nothing is a lock in MMA, and I don't think Gamrot is a lock. No, I think he wins, but I would not say a lock. That is true, but Gracie, they did lose last time out. Pat Sabatini got finished in the first round. Split decision, yes. The split decision, it makes so much sense here, Aiken. And I'm done betting split decision props. I'm done doing it because these props make so much sense. But every time I bet the prop, like either it ends inside the distance out of nowhere, fights that are favored, like heavy to go to the distance, they end inside the distance, or somebody gets dominated. So yeah, I think the split decision makes a lot of sense here, but I will not be betting it. It's plus 400 if anybody wants to take it. Below money line for Propaholic, I'm right there with you. It's a close fight, 50-50 fight, in my opinion, at least. I know people have strong leans either way, but I will be taking the dog shot on Belal. All right, guys, we're going to get into the main card here. We have a 5-fight main card, phenomenal main card. If you guys have not already, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Check me out on Twitter, DFS_numbers. I got a contest going on over there. Check me out on Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'm going to start putting a ton of content, video content on Instagram. So if you're not following me on there, go check me out over there. I already have like 3 or 4 videos up. And I'm also on that TikTok. I'm on that TikTok now, guys. You won't maybe see me dancing, but you will see some betting content on there. TikTok, DFS_numbers. All right. Enough of that. Manon Fiorot going against Katlyn Chookagian. I am very, very confident in a Manon Fiorot. But I can't do it. I can't bet Manon because I'm confident in a lot of these women's MMA fights. Like, for example, last week, I was very confident in Piera Rodriguez, and she won the fight, but did she look minus 170, minus 180? No, she didn't. It was a close fight, and I think that could potentially be the case here where I'm so confident in Manon, but Katlyn Chookagian just has this way of making fights close. She has this way of winning fights she clearly lost, and a lot of it has to do with the little noises she makes. She's nonstop with those noises. The judges either A, are blind. I know Adela Bird's blind for sure. Or B, they're on their phones. We've seen them be on their phones before, not watching the fight. And why would you watch a Katlyn Chookagian fight, right? So maybe they're falling asleep, and all you can hear is those tennis sounds of Katlyn Chookagian. And I think those tennis sounds are scoring the fights for Chookagian. She's missing a lot of these times. I mean, you take a look at her striking accuracy. Chookagian, it's pitiful. Chookagian has a 35% striking accuracy. I mean, you could blindfold Manon Fiorot, and she could have a better accuracy than that. She's missing a ton, but it's those noises that are tricking the blind judges into thinking, hey, Chookagian's landing a lot here. We should score the round for her, but that's not the case. So that's why I can't bet the money line here on Fiorot. I do have a bet on this fight. We'll talk about it, but Yeah, I think Fiorot wins. I think on the feet, she's just as high volume as Chookagian. I think the harder shots, all the power shots can be coming from Fiorot. I think just based off of power and damage, it should be favored on the feet for Fiorot. But I also think that Fiorot has a clear path to victory with the wrestling. She went out there, took down Mara Bueno Silva twice, armbar specialist. She went out there and took down Jennifer Maya, black belt. I think she should take down Katlyn Chookagian, win minutes on the ground. So yeah, I like Fiorot here a lot, but Katlyn Chookagian just has this way of making fights close that really shouldn't be. So I think it'd be wise to just potentially pass here from a money line standpoint. But it's tempting. It is but I could see it at the end of the day. I could see this being a split decision when it really shouldn't be. And you're holding that minus 200 and it's a split and you don't feel good about it. I can see that happening. So not touching Fiorot here. But what I will be touching is the finish only for Manon Fiorot. And I talked about this on my betting breakdown video, and it looks like a lot of people got in on it. And it's a very popular play, and rightfully so. So Manon Fiorot, finish only. The scorecards equals no action. On FanDuel, they call it the decision no bet. They made a mistake. They had it at minus 205. Minus 205. And it was there for a couple days. It was there for like 3 days. And I put 3 units on it. Just because, and I think it probably does void. And as you guys know, the finish only scorecards, if the fight does go to decision, it voids. And I think it probably does void. But if there's a finish in this fight, you best believe it comes from Manon Fiorot. I think there's very little finish upside for Katlyn Chookagian. Chookagian has a 17% finish rate. That is probably the worst in the UFC. That's the worst on the card, and it's got to be one of the worst in the UFC. You'll never see a finish rate that low. Her last finish comes back in 2016 prior to the UFC. 0 finishes in the UFC, whereas Manon, I think she has pretty much all the finish upside here. She hits much harder. She is a finisher. She has finished the majority of her wins. I think if there's a finish, it's more likely in minus 205 that there is a finish on the Manon side. So I put 3 units on that, and I think just today that line has been completely smashed, and it took long enough. That line should not have been at minus 205. And it's been smashed on pretty much every book now. People are starting to catch on that Katlyn Chookagian is not finishing anybody anytime soon. So that's my bet for the fight. Other than that, I'm going to be passing. From a DraftKings perspective, it's Manon, if anything. I'm not playing Chookagian in DraftKings. I never will. She doesn't throw anything. Well, she doesn't land anything. Lots of swinging and missing, lots of tennis sounds that aren't going to count for significant strikes. I don't see takedown upside for Chookagian. I don't see finish upside. I'm content with just fading Chookagian, but it's Manon, if anything. All right, see what we're saying in the chat here. Anthony saying sub for the bet, stay for the dance. There we go. I like it. Maybe you'll see a dance on there. Fiorot by finish. I hope so. I hope I hit that finish only. That'd be nice. Fiorot by KO. And yeah, those finish props for Fiorot are pretty interesting. They're juicy, man. They're like Fiorot by knockouts, like plus 500, something like that. Yes, sir. Let's get those likes up. Oliveira, 10 units. My goodness. Chookagian missed weight for the first time. Yeah, that's weird. She never misses weight, and she has a ton of fights. So that was weird. I don't know. Don't know what to really think of that. Chookagian knocks out Fiorot. Will you do it in TikTok dance? Yes, sir, I will. You can clip this. If Chookagian knocks out Fiorot, I will do a TikTok dance. Hagbeard saying, I love Manon. Me too. Me too. Vince saying makes betting MMA less fun when you have to trust the judge. Yeah, exactly. Stay away from this fight. I'm right there with you. Chookagian by decision. She's done it before. Volume beats tennis sounds. I agree with you, but the judges sometimes don't. Manon has. That's a good point. Manon has. Who's going to have the louder noises? We're going to find out. That is a good point, Aiken. But the judges are right there. They can hear. Could be a split. I don't think so, but it's a Chookagian fight, so maybe. I like it to go to decision. Me too. I think it goes to decision. Belal has like a 24% finisher. It's close, but Belal has 24%. Woo! 205. Fiorot finish only. 10.25 units on it for 5 units. That'd be huge. That'd be huge, Victor. I only went 3 units because I don't know. This is women's MMA and anything can happen, but I'm very confident in that. That at the very least it pushes. I went Fiorot decision. Yeah, I think decision's most likely. Got Makhachev. Goodness, plus 490. Parlays are busted. You think Chookagian pulls it off? Nah, I don't know. She's done it before. Paul saying, I don't know, call me crazy. I just have not been impressed with Manon. I've been extremely impressed. But maybe a win over Chookagian will impress you because that's not an easy thing to do, beat Chookagian. And I agree. If you're taking the Chook decision, you got to sprinkle the split. I think if she wins, it is probably a split. How high on Armen are you? Not too high. No bet for me on that fight. All right, guys. We will keep moving on to the next fight. We got Mateusz Gamrot going against Beneil Dariush. And we have Gamrot around minus 190. Looks like he's been bet to like minus 200, minus 210. Beneil Dariush like plus 165, 170, 175 around there. I do have a bet here, and I have the fight doesn't go to decision. I got it at plus 130. As far as I'm concerned, that line is still there, and we'll talk about why Loke just got bet down. So it's still plus 118 on FanDuel. I see a plus 127. The reason I do like this fight doesn't go to decision, I think it's going to be a war. I think this is going to be an absolute war, and you see that, Gamrot, first of all, is like a minus 200, minus 210 favorite. Like Beneil Dariush has been finished in all of his losses. Beneil Dariush has never lost a decision. The guy's a lot of fights. 26 fights. Beneil Dariush never lost a decision. And, the durability is something that does concern me on the Dariush side. On the flip side, Dariush, he has a ton of power. Obviously, a great submission game, but his striking is very, very underrated. Like, Beneil Dariush's striking is no joke. And I think a lot of people expect this fight to play out on the mat. And I don't know. I see this, playing out on the feet for a good majority of the time. And when it's on the feet, you got to think that Dariush is probably the better striker here. But the durability does concern me on the Dariush side. The guy's been hurt a lot. He's been knocked out a lot. So I am kind of leaning the Gamrot by finish here. The knockout's plus 500, but what I just did was took that fight doesn't go, half a unit, plus 130. I think somebody's getting finished here. And I don't hate that look. But from a DraftKings perspective, yeah, 8,800 is a pretty steep price tag to pay for Gamrot. I have some of them. And on the flip side, Dariush, 7,400, I don't think that's a bad look. I think he's going to be pretty low owned. But yeah, this fight's phenomenal. But I am kind of looking at violence here. Half a unit, plus 130. And I was tempted on that Gamrot by Caio at like plus 500. I think that's a pretty interesting. Let me see what that is right now. It's now plus 420. So money is coming in on that knockout prop. And rightfully so. Dariush has been hurt a lot, coming off of a layoff, an injury. A Gamrot knockout would not shock me. But you give me the fight doesn't go, plus 130 there, half a unit. Favorite cheap fighter for cash? I think there's a couple options. I think, Muradov is a good option, potentially. Sean O'Malley, even 6,900, so cheap. I guess those are kind of the two I'm looking at as far as a pump play for cash. Tournaments, I like Dobson down there at 7,100. Chookagian sub round 3. That would upset me very much. You saying feed me Gamrot. Mushroom saying Gamrot KO. I'm kind of with you on that one. Gramps on the KO. Gramps saying ship it. Paul liking the sub from who? You liking the sub on the Gamrot side or the Dariush side? Dariush has been subbed before. Gamrot has not. Gamrot moneyline is an instant parlay piece. I'm not as confident as you, but I think he does win. Yeah, both guys, their ground games are high level. Absolutely high level. Beneil KO plus 700. That is interesting. Gamrot inside the distance is worth a shot at plus money. I don't hate it. I like Gamrot by KO. Dariush only loses by finish 100%. He absolutely does. Dariush's path to victory is a firefight with close. Yeah, and I think this will be a firefight. Dariush sleeps. I agree. What time did the fight start? The fights start in about 14 hours. Not for a while. Yeah, his path to victory is going to have to be stuffing the takedowns of Gamrot. And yeah, making it a war, making it a firefight on the feet. But yes, most importantly, stuffing those takedowns, and his chin needs to hold up as well. For that bet challenge you're doing, does it matter how many legs are on the parlay? No, you can do whatever you want. You can do any money line prop parlay as much as you want. And that will be on the betting breakdown video you're talking about. Yeah, I'm doing a contest on there as well. Doing a lot of contests this week. Big card. 2 fights you must roster. I'll make it easy. The main event and the co-main event. I will have a lot of ownership in both those fights. Hack saying, what is crazy? I think I'm going to have half my bankroll on this event. Yeah, bankroll management's key. I would not recommend doing that. 40%. I have about like 17 units or so on this card, which is a lot. But if you have a lot of confidence, man, go for it. There are some good spots. Gamrot KO, Fiorot KO, Jan KO parlay. I like it. Get some crazy odds there. Mushroom. Sounds like a Lambo parlay to me. And by the way, I will be on the Lambo Plays podcast with Narco tonight at 10 Eastern time. So go check that out, guys. Okay, we will move on to, this is probably the people's main event. These last 3 fights are phenomenal. Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley, Aljamain Sterling, TJ Dillashaw. The main event, Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira. I don't think there's not been a card this year where we've had these last 3 fights look like this. I mean, this is unbelievable. Petr Yan, Sean O'Malley. It looks like some money has came back in on Petr Yan as of late. Yeah, he's now minus 290 on FanDuel, minus 275 on DraftKings. I thought that line might keep coming down. There is a lot of love out there on Sean O'Malley. I guess the narrative is, Yan, slow starter, 3-round fights. Sugar's going to win the first round. That's the big narrative this week. And I don't know. I really like the spot for Petr Yan, and I'm a big O'Malley fan. I've never picked against him, not even against Cheeto when he lost. I was on O'Malley there, and I made a lot of money with Sean O'Malley. But this is kind of where I'm going to be jumping off the train for at least now, because this is a massive step up in competition. I can tell you right now. I know it's a hot take, very hot take. Petr Yan is not Chris Moutinho. Petr Yan is not Jose Quinones. Petr Yan is not 40-year-old Eddie Wineland. Petr Yan is one of the best, if not the best, fighter in the division. This is a massive, massive step up in competition for Sean O'Malley. And you take a look at it, like when Sean O'Malley has taken just a slight step up against, Pedro Munoz. I mean, he lost that first round. That's a horrible look to me against Pedro Munoz, a guy that eats punches with his face, getting outstruck. That was not a good look. When he took a step up against, Marlon Vera, I know he got hurt, but, got finished in the first round. This is a much, much bigger step up in competition than a Pedro Munoz, who's now 36 years old. I like Yan here a lot. I think on the feet, Sean O'Malley's a phenomenal striker, but Petr Yan's fought and beaten phenomenal strikers such as Corey Sandhagen, such as Jose Aldo. I think Petr Yan can also mix in takedowns as well. Sean O'Malley has been gifted a lot of matchups, I think. Nobody's trying to take down Sean O'Malley. I think that changes here, and Petr Yan absolutely has the ability to do so. And I think people are forgetting about the grounded pound of Petr Yan. It's devastating. Devastating ground and pound. Devastating power in general. The guy has so much power. He may be shorter here, but he's definitely the more powerful guy. 10 knockdowns in 10 fights for Petr Yan. 10 knockdowns in 10 fights for Petr Yan. So I know a lot of people are on O'Malley. I just don't see it. I think like early on, if you got like something crazy on O'Malley, like last week or 2 weeks ago, he was at like something crazy, like plus 300. I think that, would entice me a tad. But like where the line's at now, I would be tempted just like parlay Yan. And, I do like Yan. I do have him parlayed actually. So here are the bets I have on this fight. I have a lot riding on Petr Yan. So if Sean O'Malley does go out there and pull off this big upset, like it's going to be a big upset, at least for me. I know a lot of people are confident in O'Malley, but it's going to be a big upset because if Sean O'Malley wins this fight, they're talking about Sean O'Malley fighting for a title, which is wild considering, he hasn't beat anybody yet. He just has not beat anybody yet. I mean, the best win Sean O'Malley has right now, Rolian Paiva, who is a 125er. Maybe Thomas Almeida, he's cut. I mean, everybody that Sean O'Malley's beat has been cut outside of Paiva. Paiva's still on the roster, I think. But Moutinho cut, Almeida cut, Wineland retired, Quinones cut, Sugimtoth cut. So, I mean, if he beats Petr Yan, that is a massive feather in his cap. So I have Petr Yan in a parlay. I have 2 units. Petr Yan, Muhammad Makhachev. I did parlay Makhachev before we went to like minus 1,500. Parlayed Makhachev at minus 730, and then parlayed Jan at minus 265. 2 units on that parlay. I have 2.5 units on the finish only for Petr Yan on FanDuel Sportsbook. They had it at minus 154. I'm pretty sure it's still there, around there. Minus 154 for the Petr Yan. Scorecards, no action. That means that the fight goes to distance. The bet is voided. And I think if Sean O'Malley does win, it is by decision. It's by him stuffing the takedowns, keeping on the feed, and outpointing Yan for 3 rounds. I think that's O'Malley's path to victory. I think if this fight does finish, it is Yan getting that finish. So I like that line, minus 154, 2.5 units on it. And then I also have a quarter unit on Petr Yan inside the distance at plus 300. And then that line actually moved to plus 320 yesterday. So I put another quarter unit on it. So I have a half a unit total on Petr Yan inside the distance, Petr Yan in a parlay with Makhachev. And then I have the Petr Yan finish only, scorecards, no action, decision, no bet, 2.5 units, 5 units total invested on Petr Yan. If O'Malley wins this fight, props to him. It's a big step up. It's a big, I know, like I said, I know it's a hot take. I know it's a very hot take. And people don't want to hear this, but Petr Yan is not Chris Moutinho. Hot take. You can clip this out, post out. I'm down to look like an idiot, but Petr Yan is not Jose Quinones. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. I know a lot of people are on O'Malley. Very popular play this week. I just don't see it myself. So we got here in the chat, Sean by decision. I think that's how he wins. And by the way, FanDuel opened up the Sean decision like plus 850, which is wild. On all day, they're feeding Sean. Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's a massive step of a competition. If Jan doesn't turn to wrestle this fight, he loses. I disagree, but I do think it'll be closer if he doesn't wrestle. But I still think he can win a striking fight, pressuring forward, landing a big shot, and knocking him out. But I agree that he should wrestle in this fight. O'Malley shocks the world and KOs Jan. That would be sick. That would be sick. I mean, Petr Yan never been finished. The guy's as tough as they come. That would be. I mean, I'd be surprised. Bro, Sean looked mid against Munoz. He did. And I thought that was a phenomenal matchup for Sean. I thought it was a really good matchup. Tailor-made matchup for him. And he lost that first round, which is scary. More money flooding on. It kind of looked like it was going to keep flooding it on Sean, but it went the other way recently. It went the other way. Looks like money as of now is coming in on Jan. Yeah, this is the big. I've heard this, man, at least 100 times, which is wild. But I did see a tweet. Shout out to my guy. Let me pull this up because I love this tweet. Shout out to my guy Garrett. I can't find it, man. There it is. Shout out to my guy Garrett Kerman, the fight analyst on Twitter. Met him in Miami. Great dude. He tweeted just a little tidbit of information regarding the Jan is a slow starter argument. In 3-round fights, Jan is throwing on average 48.5 strikes, landing 48% of them and throwing 10.29 strikes per minute in round 1. This is 3-round fights. So maybe he is a slow starter in 5-round fights, but doesn't that kind of make sense? You're going to, get your reads early on. You have 5 rounds to work with, manage your cardio a little bit. But in 3-round fights, I mean, the stats are there. I mean, he's attempting 10.29 strikes per minute. That does not sound like a slow starter to me. Sean is only on this card for the casuals. I mean, I'm a big O'Malley fan myself. I just think it's a big step up a competition. Decision, no bet. Yeah, I think that's a great look there. O'Malley won't knock out Jan. It'll be a decision if he wins, and he probably wins round 1 here. Yeah, I think if he does win a round, it will be round 1. Jan has fought guys like O'Malley. O'Malley has fought no one like Jan. Yeah, nobody. Not even close. Why is O'Malley so overlooked? No, a lot of people are on O'Malley. A lot of people. I've seen a ton. I think he's probably the most popular dog on the card. Nobody's overlooking. Maybe me and a couple of people that are betting Jan, but a lot of people are not overlooking Sean O'Malley. My brother's a big Sean O'Malley fan. He is all over him this fight. Sorry, Paul. I already did it. Nothing you could do. Stack the main event in cash. I'm not. I'd rather stack that co-main event. I think the co-main event scores a ton. Lots of volume, and I think it does go a lot deeper than the main event will. See you in there, Nick. How does it start? The fight starts in about a while. We still have a while to go. Brady, if O'Malley wins, will you color your hair like his? No, I won't. Just because I don't know how I would do it. Jeff saying, Jan inside the distance for me. The hooker on the side of the street was a classic line from No Mercy. That was a classic line. Nick saying, Jan, TKO ground and pound, easy money. I think the ground and pound is there as well. Brady's brother is Burt MMA. That he is not my brother. All right, we'll move on. Co-main event. We have Aljamain Sterling going against TJ Dillashaw. Great fight. And I do have a bet here. And I'm sure you guys probably know where I'm going. I have a bet on the dog here. Because you look into this matchup, narrative aside, the narrative is, Dillashaw is a cheater, blah, blah, blah. Dillashaw coming off of a layoff, an injury. He's now 36. All that narrative stuff aside, you look at the matchup itself, and I see a very winnable fight for Dillashaw, not even a close fight. I see a path where he looks like a big favorite here. And that's just because stylistically, Dillashaw has some of the best takedown defense in the division, but not only that, probably the best get-up game in the division. This guy is very hard to take down, but even harder to hold down. And you just take a look at him throughout his career. I mean, nobody's taken this guy down and holding him down. The most somebody's controlled Dillashaw has been like less than 40 seconds of control. Nobody's been able to control him for longer than a minute. So if Sterling is able to take his back and control him, he'd be the first one to ever do so. And I thought something was interesting at the ceremony of weigh-ins, I believe it was. Sterling was talking to Dillashaw, and it's all talk. You can't look into this much, but he was like, "We're not wrestling. We're striking. We're striking." He said, "You're going to get the fight you want," and I thought that was interesting because if Sterling strikes with Dillashaw, I think Sterling could have success early, just because of he throws a ton of volume. Dillashaw is the much better striker, but Sterling just be competitive based off of volume there. But as the fight goes on, we've seen Sterling slow down a lot. And Dillashaw, what I like most about Dillashaw, that even at 36-year-old, he has that next level cardio, that pace, that pressure we saw in the Sandhagen fight, even with a hurt knee, I believe it was. I mean, he was still able to pressure the entire time and not slow down with like a really serious injury. So he's going to pressure Sterling from the jump, and getting pressured the entire fight, that is tiring. That is very, especially a guy like Sterling who has slowed down before. We saw in the first Jan fight where Sterling was slowing down bad in that second, third, fourth round up until the illegal knee. Sterling was wilting under the pressure of Jan. I kind of see the same thing here. So that's narrative aside, but the narrative is, Dillashaw, he's 36 years old. He's coming off of a layoff. Is he washed or not? But I think if Dillashaw has anything left in the tank, this is a very winnable matchup for him. Stylistically, if he's washed, he's washed. We'll have to see. But I like the plus money here on Dillashaw. I have a half a unit on Dillashaw at plus 155. Going to see where that line is at now. Around the same. Plus 150 for Dillashaw. Plus 150. Best price out there for Dillashaw. I just think stylistically it's a winnable matchup for him. I don't see Sterling taking down Dillashaw. I don't really see him taking the back at Dillashaw. I don't see him outstriking Dillashaw for 5 rounds. I think, Dillashaw would have to be like washed to lose this fight, and he's a dog here. So we'll have to see. I may look like an idiot. Maybe TJ is washed, but stylistically, I like the matchup for him. So we'll have to see. But yeah, the line doesn't make much sense to me. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. Yeah, and TJ even admitted he was a cheater at the press conference, which was interesting there. I think TJ can finish. I'm leading decision myself, but I think he can finish in fourth or fifth round. Dillashaw is a nightmare matchup for Sterling. I think so too. The Funk Master by finish, that would have to mean he has to get TJ down and get his back. And I don't know. Nobody's been able to do that to TJ yet. TJ looks old AF. I don't know. He looked old in like some pictures I saw like early in the week, but I think he looks fine. Lou Betch is on that TJ round 4 and round 5 makes sense to me. Dillashaw and New, I agree. What does everyone think? TJ will win easy. I hope he does. But just asking, I don't think it'll be easy. I think it'll be competitive. I just don't think he should be plus 150. Yeah, I think Sterling can finish this fight. Again, he's gonna have to take down Dillashaw. I don't know if he's gonna be able to do that. And again, he said he wants to strike with Dillashaw. So we'll see if he's lying or not. I think TJ has a great take on defense. I agree. I think Sterling's jiu-jitsu is better than his wrestling. Yeah, Sterling's jiu-jitsu is phenomenal, but his wrestling's not there. Like a 30% takedown accuracy. Nick saying, I'm with you, Brady. TJ, easy work taking the belt back off the fake champ. Next title fight is TJ Dillashaw versus Petr Yan. That'd be a great fight. Dillashaw 4-5 to sit. That's a good look there. I think it's a good look there. TJ will mop, or Sterling will mop TJ. Easy work. I don't know. I don't see it myself. I just don't see it. Unless TJ's washed, which there's no reason to believe he is. I mean, he's 36. He's not that old. We saw a Sunsao go out there, pull off a big upset. We saw Guido Canetti pull off a big upset. I mean, he's only 36. He's not like 40 or anything. Yeah, on the flip side, you have to assume that Sterling takes down TJ. And again, you're laying minus 170 on those assumptions. I'd rather be on the plus money on it. But yeah, he did say that. And the Mushroom not touching the main event, just going to enjoy it as a fan. What a fight. You're not touching the main event, a fan of violence, Mushroom. I thought you'd be on the main event here with me. But yeah, let us get us into this main event, and then we will go over any final questions, comments, concerns you guys have. I'll go over my final bets. But let us get into it. So, Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira, fight of the year, most anticipated fight of the year. For me, should be for many people. I mean, this is a fight that people want to see. Both guys made weight early, so the fight is good to go. Happy about that. And yeah, it's a good fight. It's a very good fight, and it's a very tough fight to call. And that's because Charles Oliveira is so dangerous everywhere the fight goes. He's super dangerous on the feet. He's dangerous on the mat. And you can't count this guy out against anybody. He's the most dangerous guy in the division. I mean, this guy is so dangerous. But, Islam, he's taken a step up in competition going from, Dan Hooker, Bobby Green. But a lot of people think he's ready, and I think he's ready as well. But he's going to have to, definitely walk through some fire here in Charles Oliveira. As soon as the fight starts, I think Charles Oliveira is going to pressure and get in Islam's face, kind of like he did against Justin Gaethje. And that's going to leave Oliveira open to getting taken down. And I think Islam will have no problem taking down Oliveira, but he's going to have to for sure mind his P's and Q's, at least early on. As the fight goes on, I think Islam's going to be able to open up more, be able to pass, get into dominant position, and potentially finish the fight in the second or third round. But, Oliveira, as long as his fight's on the feet, he's going to be live. And honestly, as long as it's on the mat, like, he's dangerous everywhere. So I like Islam to win, but I'm not running to the window to lay minus 180 on the guy. What I do like is violence. I like violence here. So it was about a month ago. I went on Bovada, and they had the fight doesn't go to decision for the main event at minus 310. Minus 310. And I went to actually max bet that. But I said, hey, let me see if FanDuel has anything out. And they did. They had the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 172. And I had to get on that. So I placed that bet a while ago at this point. I've been sitting on it for, it's going to be a month pretty soon. I placed it on the 23rd of September. And I've been holding onto the ticket for a while. And of course, the line got smashed a couple days later, and rightfully so. And it's continued to be smashed. And we now see that line on FanDuel Sportsbook is like minus 480. The minus 500 fight doesn't go on Bet Online. But I think violence is the way to go. I don't mind. The fight won't start round 4. But, these have been hit throughout the week. FanDuel had the fight won't start round 4 at like minus 164 for weeks, almost a month. I thought that was a phenomenal line. It went to minus 174. I thought that was a phenomenal line. It's now minus 230. So if you like violence, you probably should have got in a little bit earlier. And I know a lot of people did. But a lot of people like non-violence. A lot of people like the overs here. I will say that I think the over 1.5 hits. I think it cashes. But you're laying like minus 160. It's going to be a sweat. I mean, you're going to lose a couple of years off your life betting that. But I think it hits for you guys. I've seen the over 2.5. I would not do that. I think it could potentially maybe hit, but you would need to give me a much better price tag than plus 120 to bet an over 2.5 in a Charles Oliveira. I remember last fight with Oliveira Gaethje, the over 1.5 was a very popular play. And I thought it would maybe hit, but you were laying chalk for it, and we saw when the fight had no chance of going over 1.5 just because the way Charles fights. But I will say, I think this fight does end in that late second, third round. So I think the over 1.5 hits, but you will not see me even think about betting that. And then I think the over 2.5 could maybe hit, but you will most definitely not see me betting that. But yeah, I like violence here. Not betting aside. Going to sit back, watch, root for Charles. I'm a big Charles Oliveira fan. How can you not be a big fan of this guy? So I'll root for Charles, but it's a tough matchup. But you cannot count this guy out. You cannot count out Charles Oliveira. But yeah, give me violence, 5 units. Fight doesn't go. Islam, round 3, TKO or sub. But Charles is live against anybody in the world in the division. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. We have 100 or 206 of you in here. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. It does go a long way. All content is out on the website. Everything's been done for a while now on the website. I was able to get really far ahead. I'm actually going to start getting into UFC Vegas 63 tonight, 11-fight card next week. So that's good. And then all video content on YouTube, and that's all out. I posted a lot on Instagram this week. Been really active this week since it's such a big card. Yeah, good line there on Charles, plus 195. Solid, very solid line. I love how Oliveira has not lost in 5 years, but he's the underdog in every single fight. Almost every single fight, right? I'll take the most disrespected champion of all time by stoppage in the 3rd. Hey, I'm not arguing. I think he's live, man. Let's say I'm not taking a side, but yes, Brady, I'm all over the violence. Let's go. Because I'm gonna make him quit. I kind of lean that route as well. Islam suffocating wrestling too much. Yep. Oliveira club and sub. Yeah, I mean, if this stays on the feet for any period of time, Islam's got to. Islam's not going to want to stand with Charles. Keep downing Charles, but there's a reason nobody wants to fight Islam. I'm no time to defend this sub. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Oh, mushroom. Can't bet Charlie selling out in 2 rounds to win here. Top pressure, Sambo and Gas Tank all on Islam's side. Yep. 302, going to be a great card all the way through. 100%. Absolutely, man. It's going to be a phenomenal card. Main event violence, 1,000% max bet. Wouldn't say 1,000%. Anything can happen, but yeah, I like violence a lot. What if it gets into the late part of the 3rd round beyond? Will Makhachev be able to hold up? I'd kind of be worried about the Charles side at that point. If Charles will be able to hold up, but I don't really see it getting to like round 3 and beyond personally. What about Chookagian by decision, Fiorot by KO, double chance bet? The only thing with that, I could see Fiorot winning a decision, but that's a solid look at, right? I don't hate that. I wish Islam would get KO'd again. Well, if he stands with Charles, he potentially could. What's up, Justin? Let's go. Nice to see you in here. Coming in. Sean saying Dariush is actually 7-1 as an underdog. Gonna make me rethink my Gamrot. Yeah, I might want to rethink it being a lock, but I think Gamrot wins. But I don't know about lock. We can't count out Beneil Dariush. But yeah, guys, phenomenal card. A good amount of action. It didn't go crazy on this card. Sometimes I do go a little bit crazy on cards like this with a lot of spots sticking out. I didn't go like crazy on it. It's not my highest exposed card ever, and really not even close. But I do have some big plays. Starting with that 5-unit bet I placed like a month ago for the fight doesn't go in the Oliveira Islam fight, minus 172. Love violence in the main event. Don't want to pick a winner or bet a winner in that fight. Just going to sit back and hopefully the fight does inside the distance. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I love that line, and I would play it every single time. So I have my only parlay on the card is Petr Yan parlay with Muhammad Makhachev, 2 units on that, minus 177. I have the under 2.5 rounds. Nikita Krylov, Volkan Oezdemir, minus 126, 1 unit on that. I have a quarter unit on Petr Yan inside the distance against Sean O'Malley, plus 300, and then also another quarter unit on that at plus 320 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I have Makhachev to win by knockout. Got it on BetOnline, plus 300, quarter unit on that. I have the Fiorot scorecards, no action, the finish only, the decision, no bet on FanDuel, minus 205, 3 units on that. I got the Makhachev Gordon, fight won't start round 3, 1.5 units, minus 124. I got Dariush Gamrot, fight doesn't go to decision, half a unit, plus 130. I have the Petr Yan scorecards, no action, finish only, a decision, no bet, minus 154, 2.5 units. And then my 2 dogs on the card, half a unit on Dillashaw, half a unit on Belal Muhammad, hoping to come out on top of at least one of those. Dillashaw plus 155, Belal Muhammad plus 125. Those lines have not moved really at all throughout the week. All right, let's see what we got in the chat here. Let's see here. If Islam was as big as Khabib, he would have never got knocked out. Yeah, Khabib, the dude has a chin on him. I don't see Fiorot finishing. Yeah, if somebody finishes, it's Fiorot, but I kind of lean decision as well. Hag saying, Brady, I'm tired of being a betting bum. I'm sure you're not a betting bum. If there's only some kind of Patreon resource which is filled with pick stats and articles that would make me as successful as you and Wheezy, yeah, guys, you can check out. Wheezy has a Patreon now. I've had a Patreon, and I also have the DFS by the numbers website as well. Tons of content on there. I was able to get everything done like early, like Monday or Tuesday, which was nice. I love when they get the salaries out early because I'm just able to get ahead. Like I got everything done like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. I wish that was the case every week, but sometimes it takes a while to get stuff done there. See, less than 14 hours. Let's go. Brady, you're clearly beating this round of COVID. You already sound much better. Yeah, I wish I felt as good as I sound. I was able to do a nice workout today without dying, so that was good. But yes, I'm probably like 90% right now. Wanting to be 100%, hopefully tomorrow. Victor saying, good luck on all your bets, Brady. Let's cash big tickets. Let's do it, Victor. Let us do it. Do you have any bets for next week? Cater, Jacoby Haas. No, I'm just starting to look into that card now. I'm planning on taping at least 2 or 3 of those fights tonight. Jordan made it. What is up? Got you, Hag. All right. Gonna head out, guys. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get those likes up. Let's get the subscribes up. Do you want to shout out the sponsors again? SteadyPicks.com and also Verdict Tournaments. Go check out both of them. Best of luck, UFC 280. No best bet tomorrow because the best bet was done on Wednesday. So everything's out. Go check it out. The betting breakdown, the full card breakdown, DraftKings video, everything's out. Go check it out, guys. Leave a like, subscribe. Check me out on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. And best of luck for UFC 280. And we'll talk to you guys